now shake. the crowd, but you don't seem so far away. Nothing between us is empty space, empty space. Even when the music is loud, I'd rather be no other place. Here with you now, here with you now.
Chase the wind and touch the sky. A star's light shines on long after it dies. Oh, in the night.
Let's just say I forgot some stuff. Let me toss this off my shoulders, because it's actually not that cold. And my code window, for some reason... Nope, that's wrong. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's get the music down a little. This is all Monster Cat stuff. It's their Best of 2014 album. Alright. Bring that down to a reasonable level. Okay. So, the idea for today was to have the Sleepzzz particles, right? Nice, simple, good early morning task. And if I have some time left at the end, I can do some Q&A and maybe do some little other fixes, like splitting the sun into a sun and moon. Stuff like that, just for, you know, kind of simple little things to do. We'll see. Really depends on how much time I have this morning. Just trying to squeeze a stream in when I can manage it. So, let's see here. Oh, I see. So I was up to, at one point, I'm kind of poking around at fonts, trying to get a new font into the system, just to make my UI look a little neater, but for now we'll keep using what we got. I just want to make sure that there shouldn't really be any changes going on here. Yeah. There we go. So, particle systems, right? Because that's really what we want for this whole thing, is either a single particle system that runs all these particles, or if particle systems aren't too heavy, then it might be worth it just to have a bunch of teensy little tiny particle systems, one attached to each sleeper. And as the person sleeps, they'll generate particles, and then the moment they stop sleeping, then we can, you know, do a cute little animation, have the Z's popping upwards, or do something else just to show, like, look, I'm awake. Granted, I haven't used the particle system in this engine in quite some time, so I'm a little rusty at it, but we'll get there. Shouldn't be too much effort. I think I just have to create one class that goes off of the particles, and something else that essentially is a particle system that owns a pool of those particles, and we can just kind of create and delete those in circular fashion until we have what we need. Just kind of glancing at the other code really quickly just to see what I can get done here. Okay. So we have, I thought I had, okay, here's our effects file. So we're going to create our new enumeration because particle effects, much like controllers, are identified by the same, not effect, the particle systems, I should say, are marked by the same identifier. So we'll call it the sleep particle system, or maybe the Sleepzzz particle system. I can't think of anything else we'll want to do during sleep for these guys. Particle system, sleep, there we go. Just trying to come up with a good 4-letter moniker, just so I can kind of remember more easily what the heck I'm doing with this thing. As I said, it's early. My brain's not at its full capacity quite yet. It's getting there, but not quite yet. So let's put one of our handy-dandy separators in here. And the first thing, we got to think about what we want in the particle, and the particle should be fairly simple for us. I mean, it shouldn't be anything too crazy at the very least. We want, at bare minimum, what, probably color so that we can have alpha, so they fade out. Actually don't know what else. There shouldn't really be much else here. Yeah, we'll do what we can. I noticed there's a text chord particle here, and I wonder if that's something that's in the engine, or if that's something that he handmade. Gosh, I need to shave. I haven't shaved in a while. Getting fuzzy. Text chord. Okay, so I think he does. Yeah, these are all engine things I'm looking at right now, and he's got. This is here. I'll pull this over so you guys can see it. He's got. So he gave a sample game, and I say he, the engine author, gave a sample game. I'm kind of glancing at each of these in turn and like, okay, a point particle system for a smoke trail. And that makes sense, right? Smoke trails are fairly simple things. Polyboards are a little crazier. We don't really want to go quite so far. And you can see that most of these are pretty simple particle types. A rotate particle is nothing more than just a particle with some angular velocity on it. So you can have your smoke twisting and turning as you launch it off. Or an orbit particle which sits at a certain distance and just revolves around. It's some cool stuff here, but we don't need anything nearly that crazy. Right? Our stuff is just going to be like, oh look, every frame go up a little bit. I mean, we might even be able to use a standard coordinate or maybe even a texture coordinate particle to deal with these, because I honestly don't see us needing this to be terribly complex. It's just a Z, right? Now granted, even though I have all these systems in front of me, like I said, I'm really, really far behind in my research on this one topic. So, bubbling steam. That's kind of cool. Okay, so here's one that's got color-based stuff, but it also has, it's a texture coordinate and a point particle system. So point particles are essentially, they're described not by a 2D quad, like some of our other effects. They're actually described by a single point, and you can pass that one point and a certain kind of texture down to the graphics card together, and the graphics card has a special mode that says, oh, okay, I need to be able to do a lot of these all at once. So we'll batch up a ton of draws and then blast them all out at the same time using a special mode that gives it really good performance. And because you have to send less information, it's easier for the graphics card to do lots and lots of these particles all at once. Now the downside is the particles have to be pretty much exactly the same. Point particles are not terribly flexible. They're really only good for one or two like neat tricks. And aside from that, you don't have much more to it. Alright, I think I've seen what I need to see, so I'm going to drag this back over here. So the first thing is that we need to create a, do we need to create a particle class? I don't think we do. I think we're just going to use a texture coordinate particle, and we'll leave it at that. Maybe have, I kind of want color in there, just so I can fade it out, though. Let's look at the particle class real quick. Of course, I just typed particle into Google as if that's going to be helpful at all, right? So let's see, particle structure, state information about a particle. Cool. It looks like there's already color and transparency in here. Same with orientation and radius and all this good stuff. So I actually don't think we need any of this. Or at least anything special, like texture coordinate. Yeah, this looks like it's for something that animates, so even just a standard particle actually has all the information we need, which is fantastic. Ooh, excuse me. My nose has been acting up all morning. So it's not a geometry shader, it's actually just a standard graphics card feature. It's just kind of like what people tend to do at this day and age. It's a very cool effect, and it is a kind of shader. but it's not quite a geometry shader. I think of geometry shaders as things like when you're doing tessellation, that's geometry shader, right? Something that can actually modify the geometry itself, versus this is just, I guess this kind of would technically be geometry in some way, but yeah, it's more instancing than anything else. Alright, good posture is always good. Excuse me, wow. This is what I get for just like waking up, plopping myself down at my computer and going, alright, let's stream. Alright, so we're going to call this our sleep particle system. We're going to inherit this. Let's get that there, much better. C4 particle system. Oh, I probably don't have the particle system. Probably include here. I think it's just particles. I think. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. It's always nice to be able to just like right click, open document, and it works. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna pull up that that Visual Studio project you guys saw open earlier just to figure out. Smoke particle, no. Forces, controllers, don't care. Particle systems. Here we go. Okay. So I guess question one, can I use this instancing point particle stuff? Yes. Yes, I probably could. Maybe we'll try putting the particle system in place and then updating it to a point particle system later. I don't see this being something we use a ton though, so I don't think we'll need the instancing to gain us that giant performance boost that we would be looking for. So we should be fine without it. I mean, I imagine at most you'll only have, you know, in the hundreds of villagers at any given time. And if they're all asleep at once, maybe I'll care. But if they're like inside a building or something, hopefully the engine will be smart enough to immediately occlude out all those particles, just because the particle system isn't visible. Oh, excuse me, my nose is really stuffy first thing in the morning. That's what I get. Okay, so let's create first off some constants, just so we have stuff to work off of here. Actually, no, let's not. Let's just dive right into it. So we need a particle count, right? It doesn't need to be int 32. Particle count. And it's funny, I'm kind of surprised that the particle system doesn't have this inside of it, but I'm just kind of following along on what he has in his system, and I assume that if it works for him, it'll work for me. Particle positions. And this will be an array of size. This is where we need that first set of constants here. So we'll need a constant int that is k max particle count. This should be, I don't know. For now, let's just say one person can have, I don't know, no more than like 8 of these. I like powers of 2, so sue me. Error, a non-static member reference must be... Okay, fine. You know what? We'll cheat. We will cheat on this. You're not that anymore. You're just a... This is a straight-up constant. So essentially what I'm doing, the reason it was complaining was because the compiler didn't like the fact that I was giving it a... Even though it's a constant, I was giving it a number that would get initialized at the same time as this value. And because the two are getting initialized at about the same time, this number here could technically be anything. Even though it's a constant, yes. It was still a variable, and you can't initialize array sizes with variables unless you're using the new operator. So what we did instead was we kind of cheated. We made a constant with the name kmax particle count and just dumped it into an enumeration. And enumerations are intrinsically just constants, right? That's all it is. It's just this word happens to mean the number 8, and when it gets compiled, it's just going to replace this word with the number 8. So even though we hard-coded it, we're hard-coding it in such a way that we can keep reusing this term, and it will keep replacing it with 8 everywhere. So if we ever decide, oh, we maybe want 16 instead, we can change this one number, and it'll update everything for us. We don't need to go through and muck with anything else, really. So the other thing, and this is, I'm really wondering what lives inside a particle system. If it doesn't contain the particle pool and all this interesting stuff on its own. That's the wrong file. Okay, it has a type, it has an emitter, it has a base, it has first and last particle, has a bounding box, some materials, and that's it. Okay. Oh, and this is cool to see. It looks like it renders them out using a job system, which is really smart, of course. Huh. And the rest of this stuff is all garbage we don't care about. Okay, cool. Well, I learned something new today. At least specifically about this engine. Oop. So now that I think about it, we won't... The particle already has its own position. I don't know why I'm creating separate positions for it. We'll just call this our particle array. Sometimes I like to do fancy editing, formatting. I usually don't. Doing something like this sometimes can drive me crazy. So let's not actually do it in the end, but it's funny because I glance over at the code that I'm kind of basing my work off of, and it looks really nice, but I also have to do a lot more looking around at the code in order to make sure that certain variables and names link up. It's kind of a pain, actually. I don't think we'll need to really override much here. Let's double check. What do you do? That's really bizarre. Okay, well, let's keep moving. Just to ensure that ours works the same way his does, I'm just going to copy some stuff that may or may not actually be necessary. We're going to write the code out for them, and then double check if they're necessary, because these are nice and easy functions for us to write anyway, so it's not going to take us a ton of time. Let's see, we need our particle system constructor. And let's see here. Can't really think of anything, honestly. Yeah, I really can't think of anything interesting to do with this. I mean, maybe we could have different color Z's. We could have, yeah, I really don't know. This seems like something with a lot of hard-coded values living inside of it, and that doesn't really bother me a ton. All right, so we do need some data inside here. Do we? This is just a straight-up particle system, and it's not like we're going to be saving these particles. So we don't need any of the packing or unpacking code we've written in the past. We might need a pre-process of some kind. And we definitely will need some kind of animate particle function. But aside from that, wow, this will actually be nice and simple, hopefully. I say that, of course. It's never as easy as I think it will be. It's just like a rule at this point. Last night I said, yeah, this should be an easy task, and then, you know, an hour and a half later, oh, shoot, I missed a question in chat. Why don't I use the Visual Studio Community 2013? I don't know. I guess I'm very used to this, and I don't see a huge difference. I honestly should swap over if it's got some neat features. I need to just look at it, see if it's what I want or not. Alright, let's just get all these functions kind of... Although, honestly, like I said, I can't think of much that would really need to live in here. A lot of the stuff that kind of comes packaged with this is stuff that would allow us to place these like in the world editor, except that we don't really want to place these in the world editor ever, right? This is something that should be dynamic and should just like live with each villager. So I don't quite understand the need to do some crazy stuff like that. Let's see here. So we've got our particle pool. Render type. Now this will be interesting. What the heck is a render type? I assume it's an enum. Yeah, it is. Okay, so point sprites, points. So okay, yeah, some of these are points that are, it looks like there's a geometry shader attached to it. Unconnected line segments, connected line segments, connected line segments forming a closed loop, indexed lines, indexed triangles. Like, you can do a lot with these. For us, I think we want points or point sprites. I mean, I honestly don't see us needing much more than that. And let's see here. You're using point particles. Okay, well... Interesting. Okay, well, we'll start with points and we'll kind of work our way upwards. Why, thank you, Vesek. It's always nice to hear some praise, even though I know it goes right to my head every single time. Still, thanks. Glad you enjoy it. I kind of hope that anyone can at least kind of understand what I'm working on at bare minimum, just from the things I'm saying. I know it can be a little crazy to follow C++ sometimes, especially a game project you've never seen before. But at the same time, I hope this is at least a little informative. I'm just looking up the particle system documentation. Let's do this on stream so you guys can see what I'm up to. Okay, so let's see. So we want non-persistent. I don't actually know why we would ever want them to have a bounding box either. That seems kind of a little overkill, right? It's a particle system. Why do I care if you can click on it? Now granted, I know some games where clicking on it's awesome, but is not animated when it's not rendered on the previous frame. Particles fade out as they get close to scene geometry to avoid depth testing artifacts. I don't really care about that a ton either. A system depth ramp fades out within a range of camera to avoid blinking out when they pass through the near plane. Yeah, don't care about that either. Okay, so really the two big things we're going to care about here are that it's non-persistent, right? And maybe either some static bounding box stuff, or object space. Because we don't really want things to live in world space, right? That's also on the list of things that are overkill for this. So let's set these flags. We're gonna OR this. Wow, that's a lot in one line. Let's shift this sucker to the next line to buy us a little room. And yeah, and let's set this up in object space. There we go. That should do the trick. I hear doggies. Okay, so we've got that already set up, and that's nice and simple. We need to make sure that this particle pool gets initialized as well. Hello, my little pup, and hello, big pup. Oh my gosh. The dog I own is about, I want to say, maybe a third of the height of the dog I'm dog sitting for, and the height difference is just hilarious. C4 is a gorgeous, gorgeous engine, I gotta say. It's very, very well written, almost too well written sometimes, because it takes him a really, really long time to actually generate some of his work. Now, this particle pool, it looks like it wants a count, and I'm going to assume that that count is actually... Let's see. Once again, I have to go back to my example code here and see what the heck is going on. Because I'm looking at his dust particles, which, granted, those are not going to be nearly the same. But I'm hoping that it'll at least match a little bit. Okay, so we want our K-max particle count. And then we want our particle array to go here. No, don't actually do that. And I'm noticing that his point particle system actually looks like it's going to work better, so let's just swap that out. Point particle system. As much as I love Unity, I don't know. It's a very data-driven system, and the game I'm making has lots of procedural stuff, and the more procedural stuff you have, the less easily data-driven code works. You end up with kind of systems that want data constructed beforehand, and because you're procedurally generating everything, you just don't have that data created. And it's just always funny whenever that works out that way. So we can remove this. Let's see here. We've got our type, our pool, and then it wants a texture name instead of flags. Okay, I can do this. So our texture name... Oh, I need to create a texture, don't I? Am I going to archive this stream on Twitch? It's somewhat archived already. You can actually see the past broadcasts has all of my previous stuff I've been doing. Now the problem is OBS cuts out every once in a while, so a single stream, unfortunately, is like 2 or 3 different past broadcasts. So I apologize for that, and I'm working on getting OBS as reliable as possible. I made some tweaks this morning. We'll see if that helps. The other thing I'm going to do is right now I'm on a wireless card, and I'm going to swap myself. I'm going to run a Ethernet cord through the wall, under the house and through the wall, to my PC here. And
Sounds like a Disney song.
we'll kind of under the house and through the wall to get Ethernet to my PC. Anyway, I'm going to do that to see if that helps as well, if the problems continue. So we'll see. We shall see. So we'll have our sleep particle, right? I haven't actually created this yet and need to, so this isn't going to work until I finish that. And that's fine. Particle pool looks good. Okay. Is there anything else in here? Not really. Right? We've got this initialized. Well, it's not really initialized, is it? Particle count is 0 for now. And that'll be one of those things. It's just a basic counter. Alright. Let's get this sucker in here. For now, I'm gonna be really, really freaking lazy. We're just gonna say the box, let's see, yeah, box min dot, min is a 3D point, yeah. Can I get away with this? I think I can. I think I can. Yeah, I can. I bet I can. We're just gonna set these all to -1. Of course, I have to -1, -1. There we go. And there's our max, and we'll just set it to 1, 1, 1. Because that even seems way too big, because keep in mind, like, a 1 unit is, what? 2 trees, essentially, one after the other, right? A unit is pretty large in our game. So this might be overkill for now, but I don't really care. It's kind of nice to have things a little over-buffered sometimes, if only so that you don't have flickering when the camera may or may not be looking at it. Now granted, that also means we're setting our, yeah. It also means we're setting our, particles to render more often than they should, right? A perfect system says, here is the line where the camera can see and can't, and what's on one side, you should be able to see it, and then stop rendering it the moment it crosses this line. I don't know if that's actually what's going to end up happening here, but we'll see if it works. And then set radius, and I'm just setting everything to like 0s and 1s and returning true, right? Easiest thing we can do for this code, just to make sure that it works. Paste? No, not the kind of paste I wanted. We need that to go there, and there, and there. Good morning, Kevin. Morning to everyone else on the stream as well. It is a very bright and early morning, but we're getting stuff done. We're doing what we can to make sure that we can get some sleeping particles. So now because right now somebody can be dead or sleeping, and they use the same animation, and you don't actually know if they're sleeping or dead. And it would be nice to know, at least without clicking on them, right? You can always click on the person and say, oh, their health's at 0, oops. How do I get this body out of here? Because right now there's no way to also deal with bodies. They don't disappear. They never do. They're just like a dead controller that just sits there and does nothing. Honestly, I should probably delete the controller on anyone. But whatever. So we have the particle system flags that we wanted to set before. Okay, particle. Yeah, so the upside of streaming this early is that the folks over in Europe, this is like a, let's see, what? I want to say it's like a 5 to 8 hour difference, depending on where you are. So, I mean, it's nice for the European folks who watch, and I know I have a fair number of European followers, so it's also really nice for them. And that's nice. I don't really care about the soft depth stuff, but I also want K particle system non-persistent. So we're essentially telling it that it's going to have a static bounding box first off, so when we create that particle system, that it's only ever going to take up a certain amount of area, so we don't recalculate that bounding box every frame. And then the other thing is that setting it to non-persistent means that that particle system won't get serialized in the world. So if you ever save the game, we won't ever save the extra data of all these particles into the world file. It's just completely unnecessary, right? This is purely just not something that is gameplay related, so it doesn't need to end up in your save file. You know, and say we have 100 people in our game, and they're all sleeping right now, or we just have 100 sleeping people, and they all have their 8 particles. Okay, so that's 800 particles. Each particle is 32 bits. So there's, what, 24? So we're already at 2K of data. Actually, more than 2K, because they also have color, so that will double it to like 4K. They have a radius. That'll probably push it to around 4.5K. Like, there's all this information in here. So we really don't want to save particle systems, because even though they're data heavy, they're also very processing light, and just creating new ones is not difficult. And I learned recently, and I'm not sure if I want to keep doing this or not, I learned recently that since I subclass from the point particle system, I don't need to tell it the namespace like I normally do. I like the namespace there just so I know who owns this bit of code, but it's always interesting to see the things that just the things that the C++ compiler lets you get away with. Now he has... Okay, so these are rendered during the ambient and lighting passes. Nah, let's go with frontmost, just to be really annoying. We can mess with this later. Layer in which the particles are drawn. So the nice thing about doing it in the frontmost list is that you don't have to sort it, because there's no transparency in the frontmost list. You just kind of throw it out there and expect it to land on the screen, and that's about it. Let's see here. And I'm just gonna grab and we're gonna set our blend state as well. And this is something this is a big topic, so I'm not really gonna talk a ton about this one, unfortunately. Blend states are, yeah, I mean, I spent pretty much an entire class lecture talking about them once. It's a pretty deep topic. Let's see here. Okay, we actually don't need to create our particles beforehand, because our particle system will be controlling the creation and deletion of these, so we won't actually be needing that. Now we may. The one thing I am noticing is that we may want to have some kind of timer inside here. Particle, not a life timer, but more like a creation timer. That's a little long. We'll just call it the creation timer.
Just call it a God timer.
Huh?
Just call it a God timer and be done with it.
Let's see here. So we need to fill that timer value in. Super Bowl? What is a Super Bowl? Is it like a giant bowl you eat a lot of like cereal out of? Or is it like, I don't get it. Is that one of those sports ball games? Guys, I'm really bad at this.
No. It's a cereal eating contest.
Oh, cereal eating contest. Got it. Got it. Okay. I was wondering. I hear all these people talking about this like Super Bowl thing. I always wonder. Now I know. See? Girlfriend coming through with the good knowledge. I also noticed my hair is kind of wacky. Let's fix that.
You just noticed.
Shh. I've been playing with it all morning, I think. Alright. And finally. Ooh, Honey Nut Cheerios this year. Man, I would be so down for that one. Some of the sugary ones I can't actually eat a ton of. I get to this point where it's like, oh, this is too sweet. I can't. Dr. Mrs. Waffles. Yeah, I guess.
That would be me, maybe?
I mean, okay, Miss. MS is correct, right? We're not married, so it wouldn't be MRS. It wouldn't be Mrs. It's just Miss. Dr. Miss
Waffles. I
Waffles.
toyed with making that my screen name language.
Oh.
Toyed with.
Cereal. I would, yeah. Of course, the person whose username is Sizzlin' Bacon is the one who's telling us about, yeah, cereal eating contest. Yeah. Some bacon bits in there. Alright, coding. Right, that thing. So,
Nah, you don't need to do that.
let's see here. So we're going to take our creation timer. Ooh. And let's just const float. Come on, const float. There we go. K creation time. Let's say we create, I don't know, 1 per second. Someone in chat said they're squatting on Dr. Mrs. Waffles. $100 if you want it. Alright, so we have our creation time. And creation timer minus equals the time manager get. Really? Okay. Times 0.001 f. And I need to include, where is the time manager? Oh, C4 time, of course. QRST, yeah. C4 time. So the K prefix is something I use to tell me that this is a constant. It's kind of the non-Hungarian notation version. Hungarian notation would say, let's put a C first, and then like C underscore, whatever. I like tossing a K in front of it because at a glance, as much as, Visual Studio has this really powerful IntelliSense system that lets you kind of just mouse over something and it tells you what it is, it's always nice to look at something and go, this is a constant. This is something that won't ever change, and don't even try and think about setting this as like a new variable. Making your constants yell might work. That definitely could do it. Just all caps your constants. I've actually seen people who will all caps and then use underscores in constants. And that was an interesting thing. So I think of all constants as pound-define constants. So I don't think of them as like actual variable constants. And that's just kind of, what I've seen in the past. And if you're somebody who works in C a lot, that's definitely probably the way it works. C doesn't have quite as powerful of, well, no, it's got a good enumeration. It's got the same enumeration system. I can see it, yeah. There's definitely no need in something like C# to do that, though, because C# strongly types all of its enumeration, so you have to say enumeration type dot this. So, Really? Java sticks to that? Ugh. I just think it makes your code messy, and it feels like certain parts of your code are screaming at you. It's like, why would you do that? No, constants can talk at a good volume level like everyone else. Don't worry. Let's see, we're going to add a new particle, and let's see here. So what we want to do is we want to go into our particle pool. Ooh, hello, what's this? Type name. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so jump back here. So it's particle pool. I think it's get particle, add particle, new particle. And this will return us a particle pointer. And we just have to reset pretty much all of its values. Visual Studio 2012? No, I'm using 2013. Yeah, I cut off the... Interesting. Okay, I'll have to swap over to the Community Edition. If it's little more than just like Pro for free, I would be more than happy to use Pro for free. It's what I use at work. It's what I'm like used to. And this is nice. It's most of the way there. I actually can't think of a ton that this doesn't do that I need, especially for my own like programming stuff. I don't know. Let's see here. So next particle, orientation, position. Okay, so we want to set position. And because, oh, that's one of the other particle settings we wanted, right? Okay, particle, system, object space. Right, we want to be able to define our particles to live in object space, not world space. It's just less transformations that we'll have to do, because all of our particles don't really care about anything else in the world. Dogs, play nice. My corgi has little man syndrome. We have a big dog, weird dog sitting, and he feels the need to try and push her around because, well, he's little. He's just so little. Huh? Come here, my little one. Come here. And I get the big dog instead. Oh, come here, Apollo. Apollo, come here. Come here. Oh, say hi to the stream.
Oh my goodness, how cute is that? I peeled the potato and I was about to take that out. It's a little heart shape. Aww.
Okay, here's my distractions for right now, right? I have dog in hand. I have a girlfriend telling me about a heart shape in a potato she's peeling. We're getting our distractions all out of our system at once.
Yeah, right. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, sorry about the headphone users and the dog barking. That's something I need to create some kind of like
Warning?
noise gate just so it doesn't kill all my headphone wearers. Alright, dog does not seem to care to be here anymore. He's just kind of hanging out, doing his thing.
He's getting attention.
Yep, there you go, little boy. My little love. Here's my little fuzzy love. Alright. So, position is very simple, right? Point 3D. Oh, look, zeros. In fact, there might even be a constant for this. Is there a 0 unit? I'd be amazed if there isn't. There really isn't. Okay, whatever. Point 3D 000. Surprise! OBS does noise gating? Oh, well, crap. Note to self. I'm gonna add that. Torpid Sloth, you are my favorite viewer when it comes to Twitch fixing. Or at least not Twitch, but OBS fixes. Hey, hon, could you toss me a pencil? I seem to have forgotten mine in the bedroom with the, with my notepad that I completely forgot. Okay. OBS noise gate. 4 dog barks. It'll sound a little weird when the dog barks, but it'll keep your guys' headphones from exploding, so... Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm very, very appreciative of all the help. I, as you can tell, am new to this. So we're just kinda... I'm poking around and figuring this out as I go, and... Yeah. So let's see. The emit time is going to be right now. Let's see, we need a lifetime. Let's say we want these to last, let's see, this is in milliseconds too. So, 1, 2, 3, let's make it 4 seconds. And in fact, just to make this like painfully obvious what the heck is going on here, I do that. Just so I know it's like a millisecond conversion. I'm not going to quite do that with the emit time because there's no need. And let's make them huge to start with. There we go. Anything else? We have orientation, height, which is only used for fire particles and should not be set. Okay, that's really bizarre. But okay. Particle orientation, I don't care. It'd be neat to have them wobble back and forth as the Z goes up, but whatever. We'll do one thing at a time. Let's see here. Position set. Let's set our velocity. I like having my velocity. Actually, no, let's just do them in order. In the actual order as they're displayed on the website. Vector 3D, X, Y, and let's make them go upwards ever so slightly. Let's start with a small number. We'll increase it later. And once again, keep in mind, right, this is all in object space. So we need to remember that even with all the work we're doing, that everything here is completely relative to the actual object itself. Dog. How's it? Oh. Hey, big girl. Alright, so... that actually should not quite do the trick. I forgot, we have to actually animate the particles inside of it, too. So, this is if we're creating a new one. Then we say particle pointer... why isn't this in a for loop? Oh, because we can delete a particle in the middle of things. Got it. So we're going to get the first particle that is alive. because the particle system only knows about the particles that are alive. It doesn't actually take care of or even like bother with the ones in the particle pool. The particle pool is simply there just to keep us from allocating and deallocating a lot of memory one after another. Let's see here. While particle next. I don't even need to call it next particle. Particle next. Oh, I need DT kind of moved out to its delta time. Let's just shift this to its own spot, because it looks like I'll need this multiple times. Yeah, because it goes assignment operator first, and then it should return this into life. Let's see, if life is greater than 0, we'll do all this fancy stuff later. To do fancy things. I'm modifying my code style, and you'll notice I'm putting these first curly brackets on the same line as the if and then statements. And that's kind of a new thing I've started lately. A lot of my coworkers work this way. I'm not sure I like it, but I'm still kind of getting used to it just to see if that's the case. And then as I get better at it and kind of better at reading, I'm going to kind of gauge the two side by side and see if I like one over the other. Because the extra white space can make stuff a lot more readable, but I'm also afraid that removing that white space might make my code very blocky and difficult to understand. So I'm kind of bouncing back and forth and trying to learn this new style and just seeing how it looks and how much I like it, because it's all personal preference. This doesn't really matter. Like, this code hits the compiler the same way, and it never really is going to care. But, you know, just in case, because this is something I see a lot of people do, and a lot of people seem to like it, so I figure I may as well try and get in on the trend, see if I actually like it, and if this is a style I want to program in, and then, you know, I'll continue or not continue based on my own opinion of it. Where did I learn C++? I started learning C++ at my community college, where I took all of my GEs and some basic programming classes, as well as a class for actually programming using GameMaker, which was cool. I used the GameMaker scripting system. Granted, I did this years ago. I don't know if that information is even, like, applicable anymore. But then I went to UC Santa Cruz and took their computer science and game design courses. And those courses pretty much taught me the rest of my C++ and C#. Which leads me into my next question. I'm unsure if this is applicable to you. The Mind Bench is asking, what are my thoughts on reflection? Reflection can be a really powerful tool. Look at Unity. Unity's entire editor system is based on reflection. You could break their system if you ever remove reflection from C# as a language. I think it's a great tool. It's also really slow, though, so like any tool, you have to remember when you want to use it. Using it in an editor like that is fantastic. Using it in real time in a game is not so great, unless you're like in the middle of loading a game or loading a new level. That's the only time I really see something like reflection being useful, because in most cases, unless you want a really dynamic system, reflection is kind of overkill. Especially when you have, in something like C#, where you have the is and as operators, you definitely don't need reflection. It's just another tool to add to the arsenal. Or to the toolbox, I should say. Arsenal's not really, it's not like a weapon. I guess it's kind of a weapon. It's a weapon for shooting down programming problems. I'm shaking here because I'm scratching the dog. Giving her good scritches. It's not really bad to put your else on the same line as both curly brackets. It really depends on your coding style. I know a lot of people who put the else in the same line with all that. I think it just gets too blocky. I really want, I want my code spaced a little bit more out so that I can read it a little easier. If I have giant pages of code, that's when we're getting to the point of just too much. I don't want a wall of text here. I want something spread out that reads easily. Unfortunately, I don't really know any good online sources. Yeah, Clotia, I really wish I had a better answer for you. I didn't learn online or using online sources, and pretty much everyone I know learned via various college classes. So, the only real thing I can think of is just hunting down something on YouTube, maybe. Gosh, the Handmade Hero guy is doing his own game in C, but granted, that's not C++. And he's kind of assuming, I think, that you already know some details of how to program. Yeah, unfortunately, I really don't have much more I can really I can think of. Sorry. Best of luck, though. Programming is a fantastic thing. It really is, I think, something a lot of people should learn. Wow, really? Did one file touch all that stuff? Is it really that bad of a dependency? No, it's not. Okay. So, we've got the particle system existing. We just need to attach one to the system in place. So we need to attach one to our... Let's see here. We need to figure out how to attach one to our person. Oh, also we might need a destructor in all of this, I just realized. And no. Now we don't. Screw destructors. Okay. So, let's see here. We're going to go back into that controller class that is getting way too large for its own good. So let's see. We want to add it into the world, first off. Like, the most obvious thing we can do is add it into the world. After it's in the world, though... After it's in the world, we need to figure out how we want to access it. I guess it will be just another subnode of this person. So we'll have a particle... In fact, we might even be able to do this by name if we do this right. Also, what are you guys doing in this order? Pound include effects.h. So there we go. Looks like Anthony's got a good suggestion on a good place to start. It really also depends on what you want to do with the programming. Yeah, it's a very project-based endeavor, and so you end up either making a lot of stuff yourself, or you end up setting a lot of goals and then shooting for projects to make sure that you have the requisite knowledge to finish the task. So this is a, let's see, where am I going to put this particle effect? I like it down here. Particle, it was our sleep particle system. And we're going to use a pointer. Let's see here. The question is, where do we want to add this in? We probably want to add this in at the top level. So where our world is getting generated, which is in the generators. And we need to include the effects. Oh, effects is already included here. Good. Good, good, good. Where are our people? There's... okay. All the people, all the terrain revealing. That's all fine and dandy. Oh, I think I actually add the people in the game world class, which is a bizarre place to do it. Part of me thinks that should end up in the world generation, but whatever. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so we're going to add another thing to this giant block here, and it's going to be that sleep particle system. This needs to be a pointer.
And no, I can't be Miss Dr. Waffles, because then it implies that we're related.
No, Miss? Just MS is... oh, yeah, MS.
Ms. Dr. Waffles?
Yeah, you're right.
I can't be.
You'll just have to wait till we may or may not get married. Till that day comes, I guess.
We'll see.
Alright, or we could just confuse the heck out of everybody.
Oh, we could.
Alright, is there really nothing more to it than that? I think that's it. Because, okay, keep in mind, everything in the particle system is based on its relative position. So its relative position is currently going to be 0, 0. Because it's attached to a character. So it's going to be inheriting all the character's transformations, which will be hilarious if the character ever, like, sleeps at a funny angle. The Z's will start doing whatever. But that's fine. We don't actually care about that. I honestly can't think of a time that that would happen. Miss Toaster Strudel-esque.
What?
Somebody has the suggestion of Miss Toaster Strudel.
That's cute.
Alright, da-dum.
Ms. Dr. Toaster Strudel.
Yeah. You guys so crazy. Alright, so, final step. During this pre-process, we need to hand... or not even hand, we need to just find for C4 node pointer node get first subnode. Oh, get target node. Have I really not done that before now? Huh. She is not a lawyer.
Tony?
No, you are not a lawyer.
Hell no, I'm not.
So we get our first subnode, we do the usual stuff here, because we're just going to iterate through all of the first layer nodes. And we're going to look for that, we are going to go hunting for that particle system. If node get node type, we'll see for k node particle. Is it really an effect? Is a particle system a kind of effect? That seems... particle system? What do you inherit from? Particle system doesn't look like it... it doesn't look like it inherits from anything, which is bizarre. K effect particle system. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's see. Take the node get particle system type. Okay, particle system sleep. Woo! That's a long hunk of code right here, but it'll get the job done. In fact, then our sleep frame array. No. Our sleep, what did I call it? Oh. Let's put sleep on the beginning of the particle system, just so we know what its use is. Sleep particle system. Node. Done. Particle system pointer. Don't mind me. Just getting things wrong. And I'm going to dump a breakpoint here just to make sure that we find it. Good. Okay, so it's definitely in there and it's definitely getting found. The other thing to do, the moment we find it, is to disable it. Just to turn it off. Because we don't want a person to immediately start like making Z's even though they're just walking around. At least we'll do that if we decide to test something, but for now we definitely don't need to be doing that. So if asleep is false, sleep particle system. Oh, actually, there should be an event. Sleep particle system enable, and then we jump down here and we say sleep particle system disable. It's so weird to be disabling something when they fall asleep, or enabling something when they fall asleep and disabling it when they wake up. It almost feels completely backwards. But that's fine. Just doing our thing. Okay. So it's going to take some of these guys a while to fall asleep, so I'm actually going to speed that up a little bit. We're just going to chunk out this by a rate of 10, just to make them fall asleep really fast. And something broke. Oh god, what? Why? Why did it break? So the particle system is, I thought it was disabled. I don't see any of them generating particles. So why in the world well, we need to put a null safety in here, obviously. Essentially, if the particle pool doesn't have any particles available, we need to wait for the next one. Now that's not good. I just thought it wouldn't be doing this, though. I figured if it was disabled, but apparently animate particles is still getting called constantly, even when we're not running. I wonder if there's some way, there's got to be some way to turn this sucker off. It'd be funny if I just had to like remove it from the tree and then re-add it when it's needed, but that seems really, really overkill. Let's find the spot where this animate particles function is getting called and dig into that. No way. Okay, who is calling this? The particle system's move function calls it. And then, okay, if animate flag, this is what we need to turn off. How do we turn it off? Set animate flag. That looks like it just turns it on, though. Is there no easy way to turn this off? That's kind of crazy. Animate flag is false. If flags include freeze invisible. What is this freeze invisible flag? Particle system is not animated when it is not rendered on the previous frame. Is not animated when it is not rendered on the previous frame. And this is just a move call. And there's no way to really remove ourselves from the move list. So I think we just have to build our own enable and disable, which is kind of absurd. But whatever. Whatever makes it work. Okay, let's do it. So today I learned that these aren't supposed to be turned on and off as frequently as I thought they were, which is fine. I assume because it's a first-person shooter that this engine is made to work with, that the I guess I kind of assume that it's made for kind of short bursts of particles. You shoot something, okay, you muzzle flash with smoke, or explosions, right? Like, that's kind of the thing that I figure was kind of the idea behind this. And I'm doing something slightly differently, so eh. Alright, let's get in here. Public void enable, void disable. Can I wonder if I can, like, override these. Would be neat. No. Particle system enable. Of course that doesn't exist. Class particle system registration. No, don't care about that. I care about this one. Do you have an enable or disable function? That is what I care about. And this animate flag, is this? No, that's private. Of course I can't modify that. Of course I can't. So I'm digging through looking for a quick and easy way to kind of get around this. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing one. Let's look at the effect. Class effect. I'm kind of digging down further and further into the class hierarchy, looking for something I can use. Hoping beyond hope that maybe there's something here that I can use. Okay, there are effect flags. I might be able to turn it on and off with an effect flag. Effect. Yeah. What? So I see this, but I don't see K effect flag. No. Effect. Okay, here's our settings. Let's check these. There's only one. Great. Unhelpful. Like, really unhelpful. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Alright. I forgot. I closed it without looking at the entirety of the class. Let's see here. Do you really have nothing? Render, light stamp, distortion stuff. Wake and sleep. Hello. This might be what we're hunting for. We might have to just... we have to sleep the... Let's try it. Let's just try it. I'm tired of looking. I want to try something. Controllers... So, the particle system, we are going to wake it and sleep it. I'm just going to put breakpoints here. Also, up here in our pre-process, we are going to sleep it up here. I did finish my Game Jam game. There are, in the past broadcasts, you'll find there's a lot of... What? Enable and disable... Oh, oops. Let's nuke these for now. The past broadcasts have all my Game Jam stuff marked separately. Those will be going away soon, and I'm not actually... I don't know. I'm not too excited about hanging on to those, mostly because the project didn't make it as far as I was hoping. Okay. So it's still getting animated. All of them. Despite the fact that they aren't sleeping. And then of course it's... Oops. There should be a not equals. Okay, so sleep and wake hunting for. As nice as that is, Interesting. Okay. Dog. Apollo, quit it. I'll turn off the puppy TV. There. That's what he gets. He barks. I close the blinds, and he's still looking through the blinds. I can't win. Okay, so new idea, new plan altogether. Before we were adding these sleep particle systems when we didn't need them, just so we could turn them on and off, and we weren't worrying too much about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more flag to this absurdly long list. Okay, particle system self-destruct. Dog. Excuse me, guys. One sec. Apollo. No. Eat it. You get some couch time. Okay. Sorry about that. Headphones back on. Alright. So we're adding another thing to this list that is called our self-destruct. And that is going to destroy the system the moment there aren't any particles attached to it. And as part of our pre-process, we are going to immediately add a particle to our system. Just so it doesn't self-destruct immediately. And then we are going to add a halt production, or some kind of function. I don't know. I don't really need to... I don't know. I don't need to do much with this. We'll create... Oh, let's get cute with this. When you say halt production, the creation timer, C4, K, infinity. Look at that. So when you say halt production, it sets the timer to infinity, so it will never create a new particle, which will let the other particles slowly die. And when the system is done and dead, it will delete itself out of the system. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So that already exists. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into here. And we're not even going to worry about it in the pre-process step, right? We're just going to set that sucker to a null pointer and leave it be. Sleep particle system is a null pointer. Cool. Oh, that, not the full system. So, when you fall asleep, where is that? Okay, yeah, when I fall asleep, we're just going to create a new system from scratch. Add new subnode. Get target node. Append new subnode. Sleep particle system. And we're just going to let it go, right? We actually, yeah, we want to keep this here. The only reason we're still hanging on to this is so that later, when the person wakes up, we can say sleep particle system let's see, halt production. Just so that it never creates another particle, and its new particle data will just stop. And once it runs out, it will delete itself, and I'm not too terribly worried about having a null pointer floating around. If we... am I worried about that? Somewhat. There we go. Can I smart pointer that? No, I can't. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep it as a pointer. Standard pointer should be fine. Honestly, we're just rewriting it every time, so we don't even care. The only problem is if somebody falls asleep and wakes up fast enough, then the Z's might get left on, and that's something I can fix. If that really is a big problem. So nobody should be calling this animate particles, which is true. And if we just sit here and watch, and I'm just going to create some... Oh, here goes somebody. So somebody is creating the new particle system and appending it. Thump. Oh god, they're huge. Also, oh, I've never created the... Okay, let's create that texture. We need to do that. Let's not make it too terribly large. Let's just say it's a 16 by 16, something like that. Tiny, tiny little texture. And we could just be like, Z. Oh, my Zoros are not terribly good. Let's actually create it with a font. Can we make it 16? Oh, there we go. Actually, we want the background to be, I just realized, you should be like that. Z. What's 100% here? Right here? Kind of want a font that's got like an outline around it, if one exists here. I don't think one will, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't have any fonts with outlines. Ugh. Oh well. Let's just take a bold font and then turn its size down a little bit and try that. Oh, there we go. That's a nice looking Z right there. Let's shift that into the center of our... Ooh. Try that again. Maybe... Ooh, there we go. Little Z. Little Z will fit better. Remove the smooth on the font. Yes, that is a good idea. In fact, I'm going to go and undo that. We'll try our pixelated. See how that looks. I don't actually think that looks better. Actually, both look pretty equally terrible. Anti-aliasing disabled, pixelated. Text Z. Ah, there we go. There we go. Bam. And let's, just because we are not really pixel artists, but We can think of ourselves as pixel artists. Dang it. Really? Oh, because my... I need overwrite. Multiply additive. Overwrite. Whatever. Hey, look at that, guys. I can arts.
Yay, you're an artist.
That probably looks really funny. Well, first off, okay, here's its 100% size. That's pretty freaking tiny. So let's... Yeah, that looks funny too. Turns out I'm not that much of an artist. Okay, whatever. This is all we care about, right? Just big Z. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. It's slightly off center. And honestly, I don't care enough to fix. Desktop. Oh, crud. Desktop. And settlement. And... Nope, wrong one. Data, game, texture. And I named it something in the code already. So let's just... Nope, that one. What was your name? Sleep particle. And remember, everything in this engine is TGA. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. Where's your artist? You're looking at him. I have no artist. I need no artist. Well, okay, yes, I need an artist. But, for now, we can get away with no artist. Yeah, the problem is artists cost money. And while Urban Mango was kind enough to donate $5, I don't really see a need to have an artist diving in on a lot of the stuff quite yet. Also, I put that in the wrong place. Data, game, texture, you silly thing. You should go in the import folder, specifically in the game texture import folder. There we go. Nope, texture. There we go. Sleep particle. Your transparency. Let's clamp edges. It is 2D. Yeah. Okay. We don't want filtering, anisotropic, or anything else. No normal map, no mip maps, nothing else. Yeah, that should be good. Cool. So that imported. So that should work. Quick, somebody fall asleep. Oh god, this guy's about to pass out in no time flat. And, oh, there's somebody. Now, I'm not seeing any Z's. Let's check some stuff real quick, because I'm not seeing them. Okay, you do have living particles. Oh, that's a problem. Lifetime, because it's in milliseconds, is not playing well with our floating point, which we generated up here. Let's do that. And I'll just say DT. See for the time manager, get delta time. Yeah, and that gets it in an int32. Okay. I see what he did here. Float FDT. FDT. There we go. Also, it's interesting. Our radius is huge, but I'm not seeing that texture still. I saw the missing texture well enough, but I'm not seeing the new one. So let's start. Let's see. What is that missing texture size? Is my first question. Okay, there's my sleep particle. Yeah, I mean that looks fine. I don't need to flip it. Oh, maybe I haven't enabled alpha blend on the actual particle, but you'd think I'd still see them. Okay, I want to see you sleep, and then I want to see you make particles. Okay, you're sleeping. Where are those particles? Okay, well I could see something before when this was garbage. Right? So let's just make that garbage again. And see if we can still see them. And see if there's something going on obvious that we can fix. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this looks like there's transparency and some other crazy stuff going on here. Also, it looks like they're all centered at 0, 0, the world coordinate, not the space where the person is, which is bizarre because they should be inheriting because they are subnodes. Oh. What? No, that should be fine as well. Let's just try something here. Particle position is equal to get world position. Just kind of make sure that the particle position, that the particles are being put in the same place. The game is 3D. 2.5D is kind of a misnomer in terms of game design. 2.5D is really just a 2D game that happens to live inside a 3D engine. Which is pretty much any 2D game ever, because everything works in 3D. There we go. Okay, so we've got the particles getting generated in the right spot. We need to make sure that their up vector is more. And is there anything else? Not really. Hi Zoe Bear. Hi Zoe. I'm waiting for one of them to just pass out and start making particles. Probably, there we go. Okay, particles are going up. Let's say 2.5, or even 1.5. Did you hear a bread machine? No. No bread machine. I don't know what you might have heard. Definitely wasn't me.
Might have been me. Crunching.
But yeah, the game is in full 3D. Just to go all the way back around to Drum Original's question. Yes, the game is actually in 3D. I just happen to use 2D sprites for some of my artwork, which is... it's cool. It works. I'm going to try not setting this blend light state, and assuming there's a difference in our textures. And let's just back out and double check that texture, sleep particle does exist. Okay. Let's just put this down and this down and this down. Oh, he's sleeping already. Holy crap. Well, once again, I'm not seeing those particles. Like, where are they? Why aren't these particles completely overriding everything? I like how he's sleeping underwater. Oh god. That... I rued the day that I add oxygen to this system. So there's something wrong with our particle, specifically. Hey, hon, could you feed the dogs? Thank you. I just realized it. Zoe just checked her empty bowl. Yeah. Alright, so what's going on here? What is going on? So I'm thinking it might be this blend state that's going on. Or wrong, I should say. It's probably only writing very specific data to our end buffer, and that's not the way we want this to work. Please, I just want this guy to pass out, or somebody to pass out. Okay, we got a bunch of people. Ka-clunk. So, okay, here's our sleepers, and yet the sleepers aren't generating particles. Or if they are generating particles, I'm not seeing it. Non-persistent, object space, and self-destructive. But we know that it's working because we see the missing textures in there just fine. And if we look at the actual TGA file, it looks fine. And if we even open up, let's see here. Let's check differences between the two. So we've got our sleep particle. Pretty standard. We can enable transparency. If we switch to gray, looks fine. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Sleep particle. Yeah, so that looks fine. So here's one. I'll put that over here. Now we'll use texture again, but we're going to go out to the engine. Or sorry, not the engine, just the standards textures. So here's the missing texture, right? And you'll notice this has no alpha blend attached to it. It's also much larger. So let's try doubling the size of this first. We'll double the size of our particle to make sure that we're just not... Maybe we're just not seeing it, right? Maybe we're just missing something obvious here. Because it's bizarre that this missing texture is working and this one is not. If you look at the stuff between them, the only difference is that this one has alpha transparency and this one does not. Blend source alpha against a blend 1 in the blend state. And for some reason blue is alpha. Like that... Something seems bizarrely wrong in there. Where's my open with paint.net? Oh, because it's a .text file. Duh. Wrong one. It's because I'm trying to open the incorrect one. We want to open this one with paint.net. There we go. So let's like double this thing's size. No, quadruple its size. Also maintain aspect ratio. I want to stay on. So this should be half the size. This thing should still continue to be monstrous. Re-import it. Load game. So this is huge. Although I have a feeling that's not actually the issue. I have a bad feeling there's some kind of swizzling happening inside the shader. Okay, let's try and match the weird swizzling going on. Just in case. You never know. So we're going to take a pure blue. We're going to dump the pure blue here. Also, don't anti-alias. Thank you. We're going to take a pure green. No, pure blue. Then we're going to take a pure green and dunk it here. Just to see. Just to see. Just in case. Okay. The other thing to do would be to turn off the transparency 4th channel and see if that makes a difference as well. Because the only difference I can come up with... Okay, here they are. So, okay, first off, size is not our issue. Not in the slightest. So, let's turn that back down to our 16. Oh, what is going on? The editor showed it had good transparency attached, yet for some reason, it's like a blue-green is being used for transparency. Or some kind of crazy, I don't know. This is so weird. Effects. Why is this not rendering the way I expect it to? What is going wrong? Oh, man. Also, let's see here. Can we keep the music running? Monster Cat's last year entire mix has run out. There we go. We'll go back to this. Cool. I don't know. I'm going to play with this a little bit more. But I mean, you can see we're using the actual source alpha and the blend 1. So this should be working fine with the actual alpha inside the system. I also put in the fixes last night so people wouldn't starve in their sleep. Oh, God. Oh, is it additive? Oh, that might be the case. Oh, crap. I think it might be additive. That might be what this blend state is doing. Setting it to additive instead of... Oh, crud. I just thought of that. Okay. So let's set this back, right? Because I think my guess is correct here. And just to double check, just to double check that my guess is correct, what we're going to do is something crazy like this. We're going to leave the white in the system. Also, I thought, oh, you know what? The other thing is that this radius is still 1.0. The radius should be like, let's say 0.25, right? Make that a fair bit smaller. I'm making it even smaller just because. Yeah, I bet this is additive. Let's see. Somebody will fall asleep and this will prove it once and for all. If we have a white edging... Yeah, and no center. That's purely additive going on here. Oh my god, why? Why are you additive? Also, huge, still. What the heck? Point... Let's see, that will have the size. I almost want it halved again. Just to make them small. I want them, like, detectable, but not too large. Okay, set light blend state. Let's see here. Dum-dum-dum. Implementing overlay blending. I wonder if it's like the standard effect material alpha or is additive, and what we need to do is just like swap it out with a standard material that's just like, yeah, here's the texture, don't give a shit about anything else. Overlay blending. Here we go. So there's a texture blend mode in here I might be missing as well. Set texture. Let's see. Transparent depth position transformable. Set effect. Flags list type. Flags update effect geometry. Set light. Blend state, set light, stamp. Stamp? Blend state. Let's try looking some stuff up in the API documentation. Something in here. Set light blend. Set light blend state. Let's try the full function. No. Blend state. Okay, set ambient blend state. Yeah, what we want is either a pre-multiplied or a non-pre-multiplied interpolation. Let's just use standard interpolation. So, set ambient blend state C4, okay. Let's go for some non-pre-multiplied first. That should hopefully fix this. Fingers crossed, right? We know what the problem is now, at the very least. The bare minimum, we can tell what's going on. And it's just one of these settings is off. I'm guessing it's like a standard default. Oh god, why is one monstrous? And look at all these others. These others are all the right size. Somebody here is generating giant Z's. And it's not going away? What? Okay, so let's fix the texture back to what we actually want it to be, which is this. And this is still, yeah, this is still a 16 by 16 texture. And your radius, I just keep dropping this radius size. And it looks, let's see, 075 to 05.
Zoe.
I'm wondering why somebody's creating a monstrous one. That seems bizarre. Okay, you are gonna sleep in a couple seconds. Oh, I forgot to let's unload this for a second. Eye texture. Sleep particle, yes. Let's do this again. Yeah, it does. It seems like the moment any one of them shows up, the one in the center of the screen turns on, and it is a far too large and... I mean, these are fine, right? It's like the first one to ever get created is ending up in here. And the radius here is always okay. So what is going wrong here? Why do we have... Why do we have all this information getting completely blasted out? Okay, let's see. Maybe they'll all wake up and it'll go away? It just seems... Also, why are they not creating Z's anymore?
They're not You're making them sleep so much they're very opposite of tired.
Oh, Nemo personas hit it on the nose. Or so I think. Okay, no, so the standard particle, the first one it's creating is the one out here at the good position. Oh gosh. See, this is what you get when you copy and paste code and don't keep the two up to date on top of each other. And Mox just noticed it too. You have two places that create particles, but different settings on them. Yes, that is exactly what's going wrong. So let's fix this, and let's fix it correctly. We're going to create our own